Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Current Affair Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 17th August 2025. Displayed here are the topics for the discussion. The first topic is water hyacinth. So we know that water hyacinth, it's a free-floating aquatic plant species which is native to the South American Amazon basin, but now it is posing a great threat to the inland waterways in India. And the next article is about the cloudburst, because we know that recently a cloudburst triggered flash flood in Jammu and Kashmir, resulted into death of nearly 60 people and 70 people are still missing. And the next article is about the Naxalism, because we know that we are moving with an objective to end the Naxalism entirely from India by 2026. So in this topic we will be discussing the background, what are the causes and what are the initiatives taken by the government. And the next article is about the Humayun Tomb, because we know that recently in an accident in a dargah, that is a collapse of ceiling and wall, nearly 6 people lost their lives. So in this background we will be discussing the Humayun Tomb, its significance, and we will also discuss a short article about and next we will also discuss the ruler Humayun shortly. And the next is about the one-liners. So we will be discussing 5 important one-liners from the current affairs. So with this we will begin our discussion with the first article, and before getting into the discussion, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. If you haven't, please do subscribe. And also the question analysis will be uploaded on the channel this evening at 5 o'clock. Please do participate. And now, if everything is set, let's begin the discussion with the first article. Only united action can stop the hyacinth invasion. The article is taken from the Hindu. So we know that hyacinth, water hyacinth, it's a free-floating aquatic plant species which is native to the Amazon basin of South America. But currently this water hyacinth is posing a great threat to the inland water ecosystem in India. And this article from the newspaper The Hindu is talking about the importance of a national policy with region-specific strategies to deal with the problem of hyacinth invasion. So let us discuss more about this news article. So what is the issue? The issue is the invasion of hyacinth or water hyacinth, scientifically known as Eichhornia crassipes. It is native to the South American Amazon basin, and it is an invasive aquatic plant with a lilac flower. So this is a flower of hyacinth, water hyacinth. And you can see that in the case of India, it is non-native and it was introduced during the time of colonial rule as an ornamental plant. So we have to know that the stem of this hyacinth, once it is dried, it is used for manufacturing handicraft like mats. And it is already practiced in certain states. And currently this water hyacinth spread across 2 lakh hectares of inland waters. And one of the most affected regions is the Vembanad Lake of Kerala. And what is the impact? So once this hyacinth invades a region, what will be the impact? The agriculture of the region will be affected, because it can block the irrigation, it can choke the paddy field, and it also raises the farming cost, because we can see that removing this weed, it costs a lot. And the second is the fisheries of the regions will be affected. This can destroy the fish nurseries, reduces native fish, damages the boats and nets. And in the case of biodiversity, so this once it is it reaches a region, it will spread rapidly. Therefore, it can cut the sunlight and oxygen to the organism in the waters, and it can suffocate the aquatic life, and it disrupts the food supply in the aquatic ecosystem. And in the case of tourism and transport can also be affected, because we know that once it spread in the inland waterways, it can obstruct the boats, it harms the ecotourism in that region. And coming to the climate impact, so once it dies, when it decays, it releases methane, which is 25 times more potent than the carbon dioxide. And what are the solutions? So the solution includes a unified national policy with region-specific strategies to manage the invasion or the spread of this invasive plant. And the next is the removal. So large scale removal is necessary, and for that we need machines, because if you go with the labors, it will take a lot of time, and availability of the labor is also a concern. And the next is value addition. So like I mentioned, the stem of this hyacinth plant is used, once it is dried, it is used for manufacturing various handicraft like mats and all. And already the states like Odisha, they are practicing it. So incentivizing the products, like we can convert, we can use the hyacinth for manufacturing handicraft furniture, biogas and paper. And if we can promote the private entrepreneurship, then it will be more effective. And the next is research and development. That means seeking alternatives, for example developing craft, biofuel, compost, textiles from the hyacinth plant. And the next is awareness campaigns. So we have to create awareness among the people about the impact of this invasive plant species and how to manage it. For example, the Jain University's Future Kerala Mission is planning such initiatives. So in this topic we discussed what is hyacinth, water hyacinth, and what is the current issue that it is posing to the Indian inland water ecosystem and what can be done. So with this we will move to the next article. J&K cloudburst, death toll in Kishtwar, flash flood rises to 60, nearly 70 missing. The article is taken from the Hindu. So we know that the cloudburst triggered flash flood is posing a great threat to the human life. And a few days back, the Uttarakashi district of Uttarakhand experienced a catastrophic flash flood triggered by the cloudburst, and now the Kishtwar of Jammu and Kashmir also affected by the flash flood triggered by a cloudburst. Not just India, even the northwest Pakistan also is affected by a cloudburst triggered flash flood. So we know that recent times there is an increase in the frequency of the cloudburst, and this is mostly associated with the change in the climate. So let us discuss more about the cloudburst. So what is meant by cloudburst? So cloudburst, we know that it refers to intense or sudden rainfall over a small region, which can often lead to events like landslide and flash flood. Exactly, we can say that if the rainfall over a particular region, in a small region, exceeds 100 millimeter or 10 centimeter in an hour, then that can be considered as cloudburst. And it can last from few minutes to hours, and it impacts only few square kilometers. And in the case of India, mostly this cloudburst like events occurs in the mountainous regions of Himalayas and Western Ghats, and this can lead to flash flood, landslide, damage to infrastructure, crop and settlements. So coming to the formation of the cloudburst. So the formation is similar to the formation of rainfall only. So the warm moist air will rise and it will condense and it gives rainfall. But in the case of cloudburst, the intensity of the rainfall will be very high. So we will discuss with the help of a diagram. So look at here. So here we can see a mountain. So the warm moist air approaches the mountain, it rises and it cools down, and it gives intense rainfall over a small region. And if the mountain traps the cloud, it can lead to more rainfall in a concentrated area, which can result in cloudburst, and it can trigger events like flash flood or landslide. So this is the formation of cloudburst, which is similar to the rainfall only, but the difference is the intensity. And coming to the recent study from the IIT Madras, so we know that the frequency of the cloudburst is increasing, and it is not just increasing in the hilly region, it is even increasing in the urban and coastal area. For example, recent study from the IIT Madras shows that there is an increase in the frequency of cloudburst between the months of October to December in the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu. And the major reason is the warming of the Bay of Bengal and the urban heat island effect. And this cloudburst is strongly associated with the local flooding of cities like Chennai, Kadalur and Nagapattinam. And here you can see the statistics from the study. So the change in the cloudburst incidence, if you take the data of the last 20 years, we can see that the Chennai and the suburban areas records an increase by 35%, coastal Nagapattinam records an increase by 42%, and the western Ghats of Tamil Nadu side records an increase by 18%, and the semi-arid regions of Tamil Nadu records an increase by 25%. What is the reason? So like I mentioned, the warming of the sea. So the Bay of Bengal, it is a shallow, so it can be heated rapidly. So when the sea heats rapidly, it feeds more moisture into the atmosphere, which can lead to intense rainfall. And the next is the urban heat island effect. So the concretes in the urban area traps the heat, and this can enhance the convection over the cities, which can lead to intense rainfall. And the last is deforestation and the loss of wetlands, and this leads to loss of natural drainage, which can lead to worsening of flooding in the urban area. So these are the major reasons behind the increase in the frequency of cloudburst and the local flooding in the cities and the coastal areas, according to the study from the IIT Madras. So with this, we will move to the next article. The politics of insurgency, the decline of Naxalism. The article is taken from the Hindu. So we know that Naxalism, a far left ideology which is looking to establish a classless society through violent overthrowing of the state. So what is meant by Naxalism exactly? It's an ideology which originated in India through the Naxalbari uprising in West Bengal in 1967, and the uprising was led by leaders like Charu Majumdar and Kannu Sanya. And this ideology, this Naxalism, was inspired from the Maoist ideology of People's War. And to understand about that, we have to understand about what is meant by left-wing ideology. So like I mentioned, it's a far left ideology. So what is meant by left-wing ideology? Left-wing ideology originates from the Marxism, so which is looking to establish a classless society. And according to this ideology, the society emerged in different phases. For example, the primitive communism, later feudalism, slavery, feudalism, and then capitalism, and then state socialism, and finally communism. So according to the left-wing ideology, the oppression, in the capitalist society, the laborers will be oppressed, and after that the laborers will unite under the banner of the Communist Party, and they will topple the capitalist system, and they will establish a state society. The best example is the USSR, the Soviet Union. And after that, the need for the state will perish, and eventually that will lead to establishment of a classless society, which will run based on which will be running based on the cooperation and the collectivized system. And this is the left-wing ideology. And if you look into the political parties like CPM or CPIM, they are center left. That means they are working according to the constitution, under the constitution protocols. But this Naxalism, they are trying to overthrow. They are trying to establish a classless society through violently overthrowing the state, and that is inspired by the Maoist ideology of the People's War. So this is creating a security problem. This was creating a security problem to the India, and you can see that the Naxalism started in 1960s and it peaked in 2009-10, and by the time the governments took various initiatives, and now we can see that in the recent times the Naxalist activities in India got reduced a lot. But at the same time, we have to look into other side. The police action on Naxalism can sometimes also result in violation of the human rights, especially the rights of the indigenous communities and tribal people. That is also another side of the actions against the Naxalism. So coming to the Naxalism, it refers to the armed left-wing extremist movement in India, inspired by the Maoist ideology of the protracted People's War. And this originated in 1967 through the Naxalbari uprising in the West Bengal, led by Kannu Sanyal and Charu Majumdar. And the core idea is establishing a classless society through violently overthrowing the state. And coming to the causes behind the Naxalism. So what are the reasons behind the rise of Naxalism? First is the socio-economic causes, and the second is the tribal alienation, and the third one is governance deficit, and the fourth one is political causes. So we can see that the economic inequality persisting in every part of the world can lead to rise of extremist activities. And in the case of India, for example, after the independence, so before independence, we can see that the major resource, the land, was controlled by a minority section. They controlled the majority of the land, and after that the government brought the land reform initiative, but this land reforms was not successful as we expected in certain areas, and this can lead to deprivation of capital for many communities. So this will lead to socio-economic inequalities. And the next is the tribal alienation. That is the underdevelopment or the deprivation of basic needs of the tribals. For example, alienation of the tribal community, lack of resources, loss of identity. And the next is governance deficit. That means lack of government initiatives to empower a region. For example, lack of basic facilities and infrastructure. And if there is no infrastructure, there won't be much investment. There is no much investment, there is no development and employment generation. In that case, this will also lead to socio-economic inequalities. And the next is political causes. For example, the Naxalism. The Naxalism was a result. You can see that it is a political ideology which is looking to establish a classless society. That means they are believing that there is something wrong with the present political system, and this Naxalism is one of the major reasons behind the declaration of emergency in 1975. And coming to the geographical spread of the Naxalist activities, once it was concentrated in the states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Telangana, and the parts of West Bengal, and all these regions together came to be known as Red Corridor of India. So in this map you can see the Red Corridor. So once the Naxalist activities were high in this region. And the next is it peaked in 2009-10, and now we can see that according to the report from the Ministry of Home Affairs in 2024, the affected districts got confined to 70 to 80. But in 2009-10 it was 223. And now it is just 70-8. So coming to the government responses, what are the government initiatives taken to minimize or to reduce the Naxalism in India? So we can see that in 2009-10, nearly 223 districts in India got affected by the Naxalism. Now it is just 70-80 districts. So what are the government initiatives? The first includes the security measures like the greyhounds. So greyhounds are the special force known for combating in harsh terrains. And this force can be found in the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, and it was established in the late 1980s, and they are known for high kill ratio with the minimum collateral damage. So similar to that, in central level we have Cobra Commandos. So it's a central force, and they are also known for the similar features. And the next is the developmental initiatives. We know that the lack of development is the one of the major reasons behind the rise of extremist ideologies. So these issues can be addressed. So the underdevelopment can be addressed through bringing development initiatives. For example, recently the government brought the Purvodaya initiative to transform the entire eastern India, including the states of West Bengal and Jharkhand, which were once affected by the Naxalism. And the next is the surrender and rehabilitation policy. So instead of punishing the people, now the government is ready to help them. That means now the government will rehabilitate them once if they are surrendering. And coming to the Samadhan doctrine. So in 2017, the Ministry of Home Affairs announced this doctrine to deal with the problem of left-wing extremism. So what is meant by Samadhan? So Samadhan, the expansion means S stands for smart policing and leadership, A stands for aggressive strategy, M stands for motivation and training, A stands for actionable intelligence, D stands for dashboard for development and key performance indicators, and H stands for harnessing technology for development and security, A stands for action plan for each theater, and N stands for no access to financing. So we know that the blocking the finance to extremist activities is also important. So now since 2017 we are using the Samadhan doctrine to tackle the problem of Naxalism in India. So you can quote this while writing the main answer. So with this we will move to the next article. So coming to the next article, it is taken from the newspaper Indian Express, and this article is talking about an accident in a dargah located adjacent to the Humayun Tomb, and in this accident the roof and the wall of the dargah collapsed and nearly 6 people lost their life. So let us discuss more about this article. So first we will start with the Humayun's tomb. So this tomb was constructed under the direction of Empress Haji Begum, the widow of Humayun, and the construction started in the year 1565 and completed in 1572. And the architect behind the construction is Mirza Ghias. So he's a Persian architect. So we know that when the Mughals went into exile, that time they made a strong relation with the Iran dynasty, that is Safavid dynasty. And when the Mughals came back to India, they brought a lot of artisans and architect to India. And you can see that it is a first garden tomb in India, and it introduced the Persian charbagh layout to India. So charbagh means for garden. So we know that charbagh style is one of the features of Islamic architecture. So here you can see the picture of Mughal ruler Humayun's tomb, and here you can see the charbagh style. So charbagh style means means four, bagh means garden. So the main monument or the structure will be surrounded by 4 gardens, and the main structure will be located at the intersection of the 4 gardens. So here you can see the tomb of the Mughal Emperor Humayun, and here you can see the 4 gardens. So this style is known as charbagh style. And coming to the significance of the tomb, it is a first structure in India with the grand red sandstone scale, and it is a precursor to later Mughal tombs like Taj Mahal. And in 1993 it was declared as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, and the conservation is under the collaboration of ASI, that is Archaeological Survey of India, and Aga Khan Trust for Culture. And they also known for various restoration projects in this Mughal monument. And coming to the Nasruddin Humayun. So we know that Nasruddin Humayun, the son and the successor of Zahiruddin Babur, so he ruled. So his rule can be divided into 2 phases. First phase starts in 530 and ends in 540, and the second phase starts in 555 and ends in 556. So he is a second Mughal emperor. And when the Babur established the Mughal rule in India, that time the Mughals had to face a lot of challenges, like they had to face the Rajputs, they had to face the Afghans. So in this time, the rule was not stable, but still, Humayun ruled for nearly 10 years, and finally in 1539 in the Battle of Chauza, and in 1540 in Battle of Kanauj, the Sher Shah Suri, the Afghan ruler, defeated the Mughals, and after that the Mughal rule came to an end for some period, that is nearly 15 years the Mughal were not in India, and that time they went into exile. They sought asylum in the court of Safavid dynasty, and later with the support of the Safavid dynasty, they recaptured their power, they restored their power in India. That is in 1555 in the Battle of Sirhind, under the leadership of Humayun and Bairam Khan. The Mughals, they successfully restored their rule in India, and you can see that finally in 556 the Humayun died in an accident, that is he fell from the library stairs at the Purna Kila. And you can see that during his time, the first major contribution to the Mughal, the Humayun to India is the introduction of the Persian style. So you can see that he brought many artisans from the Persian, and they introduced their culture here. And at the same time, you can see that during his period the instability was very high. That means the Mughal rule was not stable, but still he managed to build a city called Dinpana. And another major contribution is the restoration of the Mughal rule. And coming to the the issues faced by the monuments, especially in the urban area, first is the urban heritage risk. So like I mentioned, the management is a major issue because of the problems like encroachment, weak structures around the monuments. So here you can see that if the monument is strong but the structures around the monument is not strong, then it can lead to accident, and that can affect the monument also. And the next is the disaster management. That is, heritage sites often lack structural safety audits. So regular audits is very important to ensure the strength of the monument. And the next is the legal angle. That means we can see that according to the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958, if there is a monument, then up to 100 meter it is a prohibited area. No much activities are allowed. And up to 200 meter it is regulated area, but this is often violated because of the encroachment and other human activities, and this will also make the structures especially in the urban area more weak. So in this topic we discussed what is Humayun Tomb and what are its major features and its significance. Then we also the major contributions of the Mughal Emperor Humayun, and then we discussed the issues faced by the monuments, especially in the urban area. So with this we will move to the next topic. So coming to the one-liners, the first is Jalaj centers. So Jalaj centers are community hubs in the Ganga basin, which is established under the National Mission for Clean Ganga to promote conservation, preservation of local culture, and supporting the local livelihood through ecotourism and skill training. So we know that it's an inclusive effort taken by the government, because ensuring the community development at the same time protection of the Gangetic basin is also important, because many species like Gangetic dolphins are found there, and they are getting affected because of the human action. So this is a very important, a significant effort from the government side to ensure the balanced development in the region. And the next is the eSakshya. It's a mobile app launched by the Ministry of Home Affairs to help the police to collect, preserve and submit the digital data without much time. And the next is the Ayush Suraksha portal. So it was launched in the May 2025 to boost the regulatory transparency in the Ayush sector by tracking adverse drug reaction, flagging misleading ads, and enabling shift regulatory action. And the next is about the eShram portal. So we know that eShram portal, it was launched in 2021. It's a central database managed by the Ministry of Labour and Employment. So it contains data about the workers working in the unorganized sector, and it is very important because we know that over 70% of the Indian workforce is currently employed in the unorganized sector, and this platform plays an important role in ensuring their welfare and justice. And the next is the Nyaya Sudhi. So it's a mobile app launched by the Ministry of Home Affairs in 2024, which enables virtual appearances in legal proceedings and provide digital access to court judgment and also tracking the status of the cases. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, please do make sure that you have subscribed. If you haven't, please do subscribe, and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you. Have a nice day.